Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the ISSF 2020. Let's move on to the second session of today. Panel discussion with industry leaders, skill shifting for a digital future.
In this session, the industry leaders are going to share their views on current trends and challenges because of technological advancement and the skills demanded in today's digital world.
It's our privilege to have the following guests as the convener of this panel discussion. Professor Eric Ma, GBS, JP, Chief Executive Officer of NWS Holdings Limited.
And the panel members are Mrs. Vivian Chung, Executive Director of Airport Operation Airport Authority Hong Kong.
Mr. Eric Chong, President and CEO of Siemens Limited.
Mr. Thomas Hall, Chief Executive of Gammon Construction Limited.
Mr. Rick Truscott, Chief Operating Officer of CLP Power Hong Kong Limited.
Please give a warm welcome to Professor Ma and the panelists.
So, distinguished guests, parents and students, good morning. I'm honored to chair this session, Skill Shifting for a Digital Future. This is a great opportunity to share and exchange novel ideas with four prominent industrial leaders. In particular, the topics on the adoption of automation and AI, the challenge posed by technology, how technology-rich environment causes profound changes in work culture as well as skill demanded. And the fourth, not the least, in what respect workplace technology acts as enabler agent for continued pursuit of business growth. Also, our discussion will cover the role of STEM education in nurturing commanders with strong problem-solving skills, creative leadership, and entrepreneurial spirit, like the panelists join us today. We have a discussion session about 15 minutes, followed by a Q&A section on 10 minutes. So let's start. The first question is, what are the current trends, opportunities, and challenges that your business industry is facing in the era of digital transformation? In particular, to what extent would you say automated technology, such as machine learning and robotics, could replace human in the future of work? How is technology rapidly change and reshape business and industry? So to start the discussion, I would like to share a few examples, real-life examples of the technologies adopted in my business and the opportunity and new business model brought about by this technology in New World Group and also in the NWS Holding Limited. Let me start. So this is one of our projects in Hangzhou. We call the Hangzhou City Brain 2.0. This is a 103-kilometer expressway system. We install over 200 CCTV cameras. And we use AI to detect illegal vehicles, car breakdowns, traffic jams to improve the highway efficiency. And our pledge is talking about detecting an incident in 10 seconds. 10 seconds. And get the response time within or less than 15 minutes. This is hard to achieve in other modern cities. Even in Hong Kong, we cannot achieve such great efficiency. And also, we aligned it with Alipay to have all these smart toll booths to collect and analyze the exact transportation movement and the pattern of vehicles. So we use the big data to analyze and plan our staff deployment and also the road alignment, road arrangements. And also on the property front, I think a lot of people work in Hong Kong, spend a lot of money on your property. But a lot of time it's a painful experience in getting a property. So we work with Astri and also Bank of China. They now is the first bank to participate in this blockchain platform for property transaction. Basically, this provides a new platform that will completely reshape the Hong Kong's real estate transaction, that will save time and resources, and they will provide a one-stop support for all the buyers, bankers, related parties, and the experience will experience a much fast and reliable process. So this will be a new era on the property transaction. For construction, in our hip hing construction, we have used a lot of, deploy a lot of construction innovation, like the use of AI. We use AI software to automate the process so that we can detect all the potential conflicts among surfaces before the construction. So that will eliminate a lot of unnecessary abortive work. And also, we use this BIM cave. It's a virtual reality application. So all the visitors, including non-technical professionals or even a client, they can explore the design before it's finalized, and they can experience all the detailed features about the project itself before actually we dig the soil on the ground. And that's the rough idea about the technology we use. And also on the insurance front, we are now talking about is InsurTech. We use this technology. We use the platform to document all this insurance policy, and also at the same time, that will save us a lot in the future claim process and payment process. So these are the radical changes to our industry. Maybe I can ask, is it let me check this sequence. May I invite Vivian to introduce about the trend of transformation in the aviation industry? Lady first, certainly. Then followed by Eric and Thomas and Rick.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Vivian Cheung. I'm the Executive Director at Airport Authority, looking after the airport operation. I want to introduce what we have been doing in the past 5 years. We create a group called Smart Airport, and we focus on how to be innovative. Rather than using what have been traditionally using in the airports, we start to look at things that we can actually innovate ourselves. In fact, many of the things you're going to see later on are developed locally. Even some of them are think from our staff and with some students together. Okay, a little bit marketing, just that. We are in such a small city, 7 million residents. We actually have a 75 million passenger every year, and we're still the #1 cargo, operating the most cargo in the world in the past 9 years. We are working on a concept. We want to turn an airport city to a city airport to an airport city. So we are expanding our land into a 3-runway system, and also nearby us, there's a Dongchong City. We're gonna make that as a very much a supporting environment to bring that a city airport to a concept of airport city. If there's opportunity, I would like to introduce more, but today I will focus on how do we use technology to support this airport city. So our pace of digital transformation still being accelerated despite the pandemic. You will see that this photo shows you that how many aircraft. We have actually over 300 aircraft parked in our airport. It's never been in the history. Just focusing on this pandemic situation, we actually, probably you've seen the newspaper, we have several things, including that we have a little booth for our staff to go in. They can sanitize themselves before they go home, because in the airport, people might think that's a higher risk environment, that you have many arrival passengers may carry a virus. So going to this little booth for 40 seconds, you can sanitize yourself. And also that we have robots help us to sanitize the entire terminal. They will go around themselves using different kind of technology. On the right-hand corner, that's the cleaning robot. Those are for the pandemic. But for the real airport operation, we have quite a lot of self-service. That also helped during the pandemic. We want to reduce the contact point between humans. So we are pushing quite a lot of self-help technology. In fact, the next phase, you don't need to check in or using this check-in mobile machine in the terminal. We are trying to help you to check in on your mobile. Not just checking, you can do actually print your tag. Right now, you can get a boarding pass, e-boarding pass through your mobile phone. And very soon, you're going to get also an e-tag for you can print a tag at home to tag on your luggage yourself. Okay. And then also, for boarding throughout the entire journey, you don't need to see your check-in agent anymore. You have your face. Once you're checking on your mobile, our system will recognize your face when you go through the entire terminal, including go through security checking system, immigration, and finally boarding. It should be a seamless process, all using face. So face become your ID. And other things like using artificial intelligence, that our entire apron, or not only the aircraft being tracked, or the vehicle in the apron are being tracked. By the way, this is a joint study with Chinese Siu students. They do a project. Now we're going to upgrade to 5G, but meanwhile we're using mobile phone and using satellite to track all these systems, all the aircraft and all the vehicle. So tracking them, we will know that their positioning. We'll also know why were the aircraft being delayed or on time. Does the catering deliver the food? Are they on time? Is that the reason caused the aircraft delay? So all those data put in together become a big data, help us to analyze the behavior of apron or the aircraft. And we also have worked with another university to create a tracking system for the trolley. You know, if you are all user in the airport using trolley, in fact, we have all the CCTV monitoring the trolley. We know where they are and how many are they, where they have been going. Okay. And then we have a mobile patrol, terminal patrol robot. They will go around measuring the temperature and seeing that if there's dirty things on the floor, and they will automatically call out cleaning lady to handle it. We're going to dress up, you know, make it prettier. And also, this is local invention that you can check the runway, healthiness of a runway. Again, this win many, many awards internationally, local invention. This is a baggage tax circulation. We have a lot of things need to circulate among the terminal. So instead of have people pushing them around, we have this little robot to deliver it inside the terminal. Okay, so you don't need people to pushing around. And most proudly present that it's a driverless vehicle. Now in Hong Kong public road, we still don't allow any driverless vehicle. But in our apron, we govern the rule ourselves. So this right-hand side, we're actually starting late last year. Using this driverless vehicle, it can drive the luggage from plant to the basement. Okay, as you can see, have no one driving this vehicle at all. It's just driving around on the apron itself. Okay, it pass all the tasks, including severe weather, during the severe weather. And next things I want to show you is that there's some actually more technology, next generation mobility at the Hong Kong IA. We're going to upgrade to 5G, and we have private mobile network to help all those automation. In fact, there's quite a lot of invention. We work locally with Science Park and universities, and Polytech, and also a school like yours. So we hope that we will identify more young kids willing to work with us with more projects later on. Okay, thank you.
So Tom, Eric first.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. Firstly, I think it's a privilege to be here among students. I understand this forum is held for students. And secondly, particularly where the topic is STEM, because both as a company, STEM is very important to us. And also personally, I do have a STEM background. I have an electronics engineering degree many, many years ago. In fact, in those days, we still studied the tubes, right? Triodes and the diodes. So I'm that old, by the way. I think STEM has provided a good background for my career. Of course, in the process, I went on to do business education and so on. So, but definitely, this STEM provides if you ask me personally, more than a good education, but it provides us a way of looking at things. I think as an engineer, I have to say, sorry, we do look at things differently. Even in business today, I still use analytical skills that I learned in the lab many years ago, by the way. I think that's something I would like to inspire students, not to think of STEM only as, oh, I will be an engineer or I will be a scientist, but there are indeed many other fields that you can really go into with a basic STEM education. But then enough said, so maybe then I'll just spend the next couple of minutes talking a bit about STEM, how it is important for our business, and how I think it really is helping, supporting the great transformation as we see in our business. So firstly, for us, we always start with a why. So for us, why is STEM important? Or maybe why is science and technology important? This is a slide that you can find on the website, and in Siemens, we talk about this every day. In fact, our business revolves around this so-called mega trends. And if you look at the mega trends, it really decides what business we should be in, or it can actually tell you what business will still be around in 30 years from now. Because one of the great mega trends is demographic change, aging population. That creates two problems. Humans live longer, they want a better life, they want more healthcare, right? But then, sorry, costs cannot go up so much. So then you need to be innovative, you need to talk about personalized medicine and whatever. So a lot of innovation in there. On the other hand, if you look at Hong Kong, aging population creates problems for the workforce, right? If you look at the construction industry, I think Thomas will be the first one to say, we have many, many workers that are 55 and above.
Yeah.
So what do? I mean, you still need to construct. So again, innovation is important. So demographic change is a driver in both ways. We do have a healthcare business, we call it Siemens Healthineers, that provides diagnostic and medicine and so on. So we think that business will be around for a long time, although it will change. The second one, and I won't go through all five, I just like to pick on is maybe urbanization. Cities are getting bigger. People are moving into cities. So what happens in Hong Kong or even in the Greater Bay Area? Firstly, the people in cities are more demanding, right? Today they want to go from place to place in 30 minutes. Tomorrow maybe they want to do it in 25 minutes. So the demand is going up. So what is the standard today? Tomorrow have to be shorter, right? The second thing is the density. In Hong Kong, we are famous, right? We have the most dense population. So instead of looking only at 2D sharing of space, why not sharing of time, right? That's where Airbnb comes in. So 3D focus or innovation on density. And the last but not least, of course, you need dependable infrastructure. I have to say, many people does not know we have the most dependable infrastructure in Hong Kong, by the way. Although we say this doesn't work, that may not work, but again, I like to look at 99.999, right? Yeah. In Hong Kong, we have electricity supply that does not, but less than 3 minutes a year if you work that out. So amazing, unbelievable, I have to say, because it's very important. And the last thing I like to say would be climate change, because again, it's a topic that is affecting us all. Climate change, in a way, is a very easy problem. How do you do more with less carbon, right? Unfortunately, energy use increased, so how do I go low carbon? Again, there's a lot of innovation, maybe beyond electric cars and so on. So for us, these are big drivers of the future. And if you look at it, many of them need STEM, because innovation, engineering, technology needs STEM. Basically, technology and innovation allows you to do more with less. Productivity gain. So this, we see, is a big driver of technology for the future. So for us, what do? We do electrification, automation, and digitalization. Very simple. First, we electrify, be it the assembly line, be it the electric cars, be it whatever. I mean, in a way, if you have electricity, chances are Siemens is there because that's our background. I have to add that we no longer own the washing machine lines because we sold that off somewhere. But anything that is electricity, chances are there's a Siemens behind. But then that's not enough. How do you do more with less? We automate. And in the last few years, we digitalize. Of course, then comes back to the question of what Eric has said. Then, people get replaced and so on. But I have to add that it is not man versus machine, Our experience is adding man or human and machine, you can actually increase productivity, which goes back to what I said earlier. You need that to solve the mega trend. So again, it's not about humans versus machine. Humans working with machines, using AI, using innovation, using big data, improves productivity tremendously. And digitalization is one thing that is driving the change. I won't spend so much time here, but we have this concept called digital twin, whereby the next stage of digitalization, we believe, will be in the industrial space. We are so used to digitalization personally, right? We can't, someone has said that they would rather leave home without their wallet than their handphone, right? So we believe that the next stage in digitalization will be in the industry. IoT and so on will enable what we call a digital twin, which allows a lot of work to be done in the cyberspace versus the physical space. A very simple example I like to use is nobody really type a letter anymore, right? You draft and you simulate and you change a letter in Word or whatever, and then you print it out. So it is the same concept where you have a digital twin of an asset. You can do a lot of simulation before you actually produce the asset. So I end with the last slide. I mean, there's many examples of what technology and IoT and science can do, but energy consumption with big data, with an analysis of the input, you can actually do predictive, you can actually do prescriptive. We have a concept called AI chiller, where we get all the data from the chiller plant, and it issues instructions, SMS, to the facilities manager to tweak the system based on algorithms that was developed from other places. So this is where AI and IoT comes together to, again, increase the productivity of the people in the building. And again, it's not about jobs loss, it's about how do I run my building better with less people, which is what we all need to do, especially in Hong Kong, again, because of aging population and so on. So I'll end with that thought.
Okay. So Thomas?
Okay, so good morning, students and parents. And my task today is very simple. I think Eric told me, I think so. We need to tell, I think, all of you what is the trend of the construction industry, and what Kerry had been saying to me, how can I attract all of you to our most traditional sort of sector and then move along into this STEM digital sort of world. So I think what both Eric and Eric mentioned, I think our industry has been very traditional. I think in the global McKinsey report, they classify our industry as only second to agriculture and hunting. But then you can then see the trend is so different. For me, it's really exciting time with the maturity on all this sort of AI, IoT, and whatnot. We are really transforming ourselves into this digital world. Instead of, I think, me talking, I'd like to show you a humble contractor in Hong Kong, how they are now transforming, I mean, ourselves. How can we really, the challenges of us is not about the AI or innovation, and how to implement this. The whole world is looking for efficiency and productivity. You can then see, I think, other than the aging demographic of our workers, construction cost in Hong Kong is still Asia #1. We still need to build, I think, a residential at $4,000, $5,000, I think, per square foot. It's not sustainable. So that's why the whole world is trying to adopt, I think, technology so that we can really streamline and also to manage, I think, the whole facility from the design to the FM side. I think what airport authority is trying to do. When you enter, I think, the airport, you have this digital journey, I think, without any hustle. This is what we are dreaming of. So that's why, without further ado, I'd like to show you, I think, a humble experience of us. We're trying to move from the most traditional brick and mortar to a smart and a digital contractor of choice. And we are happy, looking from the industry, I think, how to adopt the 4.0 and also what the Development Bureau have been advocating this construction 2.0. So BIM, as I think Eric has said, is really the fundamental thing. That's why for students, you need to be aware of this. I think if you don't know BIM, don't enter our industry. So the chairman, I think, in his opening speech, collaboration is really the word. How can we have this common data environment, capturing all those data? So digital procurement, and then we can then again do the FM, I think, as well, adopting this 4D and 5D. Again, this is logistics or management. This day, everyone is talking about MIC and DFMA, design for manufacturing and assembly. We have a few projects adopting all this. It's not just the structure we can do, it's the ABWF, the builders work as well. In the aluminum window, we can make use of the beam drawing and then cast into the CNC machine, and the extrusion will come out. So this is the digital twin that I think what Eric is talking about. This is the Twin Moon Chalakot link. We do, I think, 7,000, 8,000 E&M module within a few months. Without this, nothing can be done. So this is the industry 4.0 and construction 2.0. This is the MIC, I think, mock-up, I think, that we did for CIC. And Kerry have visited and really impressed with the production. More importantly is the safety aspect. This is the digital project management we are advocating. Digital twin, as Eric has said, how to really link up the data from the design to construction to installation and then to the FM. And we'll be putting a lot more sensors into the infrastructure. So in order to be smart, then you need to be how to track all those. And with those sensors, in fact, we can eliminate this or dismantle the formwork much earlier. So it's not just the infrastructure, residential building, we can adopt, as well. On all of our side, we have a lot of cranes, and the cranes can adopt the AI and then measure how many workers and what are their productivity, and then you can manage. So this is the IBTD connector. I think the most challenge is to connect the last 100 meters from the technology to the phase, the work phase of workers and staff. And that's how we do this, to make it real. Again, you can do it on our piling as well, using our piling rig, using AI to get the root of the piling rig, I think, which is the most advantageous sort of streamlining. Then QA, QC obviously is so important. We can't, all the risk form cannot disappear. So we develop a software, we can then be blockchain and then can be locked onto BIM as well. This is really the way to go for managing infrastructures. We call it Inspector. And I've been used for at least, I think, 100 sites, I think, for the Inspector, both from Gammon or to share that with our customers as well. So this is for the defects rectification. So it's a common data environment. They say in order to have collaboration, you need to share the one single sort of area of truth for each and everyone. From designer, client, contractor, and supply chain. Okay, that's roughly, I think, I'd like to tell you, the whole sort of construction industry is now really moving from the traditional brick and mortar into this route. I think that's what I think we are sort of targeting. So,
Thank you very much for your sharing. It's very striking with all this video and images. So Rick, also on to you.
Joseon.
Wow,
I felt like I need to do a little bit of introduction to COP. I think this is only the second time I've been to Hong Kong Island since Chinese New Year. And so I think it's a little bit of an introduction may be worth it. One, COP, when we started 119 years ago, we weren't very big. We were smaller than Hong Kong Electric. Now we sell 80% of all electricity in Hong Kong. Safety is our most important thing, safety to our customers, as well as safety to our people that work with us. But the other number, and this is 99.995, and the reason why it's 5 and not the extra 9s that you talked about was because of the super typhoon. Mongkut, a couple of years ago, we had over 20 minutes of customer minutes lost during that typhoon. Normally, with typhoons and everything, we have normally about a minute. And if you think about that, that means people in Hong Kong, that 1 minute in a whole year, on average, is when you don't have electricity. Now, we're quite happy about that, but you know what? That's what our customers demand. It's something that they need. One, Hong Kong is the most vertical city in the world. I think 50% of the people live and work above the 15th floor. And if you think about that, that's quite amazing. I'm from a place in the United States called Oklahoma. It's 1,000 times bigger than Hong Kong, but it has half the population. I think we maybe have 2 buildings that have 15 floors. So you can imagine, one year we had a problem with one of our cables. A water main burst, and the water actually cut through one of our cables. On a Saturday night in July, we had a gentleman that got stuck in an elevator for about an hour. You can imagine July, stuck in an elevator. That's not the way you want to spend a Saturday evening. So that person was quite upset, rightfully so. So we designed to make sure we keep our customers happy. And so that's one of the things that we do quite significantly. The things that we're doing right now is we have, our emphasis right now is the 3 Ds. One is decarbonization, because when we produce electricity, we use a lot of carbon to do that, a lot of fossil fuels. We're transitioning to decarbonize that, reducing the amount of coal we use, using more gas, trying to increase the amount of renewables. The second thing is decentralization. And it's a little bit like what Eric is talking about, is his digitalization and looking at basically trying to be more efficient in how energy is used. We still see a lot of electricity being used, as Eric says, because that enables a lot of the technologies and a lot of things that we do. But we look at more vehicles coming, electric vehicles being more and more predominant in Hong Kong. We're also looking at more renewable energy, trying to incrementally reduce that carbon that we use in the energy sector. And the final thing, and I'll talk about that more today, is really digitalization. And the digitalization is really the key in enabling our ability to make our customers happy by obviously improving our safety, our reliability, but also driving down cost. Because you just can't keep raising cost and expect people to happily pay that. So one of the things, that's one of the biggest things that we're trying to do is using technologies. Now, the first thing, I talk about a smart grid. I'm a mechanical engineer by background, and I've been more on the generation side. About 3 years ago, I started working in power systems and the transmission and distribution. Didn't know much about it, but I was very amazed at that time to know, do you know how we normally find out that somebody has no electricity? We don't get alarms, unless it's a really big problem. We'll get alarms, obviously. But usually on an individual basis, they call us. They call us. Because there's so many customers and the technology is so difficult to put in place. So that's how we have to find out. I remember one of the first typhoons that they were managing, we had a person that didn't have electricity for 8 hours. And then when he called us, he said, "Oh, I don't have any electricity." He said, well, why didn't you call us before? And he said, well, it was a typhoon. Didn't expect any I expected the power to be out. And so we didn't know for 8 hours. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to take that grid and make it smart. We've done a number of things. CLP has done a number of automating the transition to switching. So when we have a fault, it will switch to automatically so we don't lose power. So that's one of the things that we've done. But some of the things we're doing now is trying to make it more and more intelligent so we can reduce the energy that was lost in terms of efficiency as well as increase the reliability. Now, that digitalization, what does that help you do? One, as I said, it helps customers save energy. The other things, it opens up a lot of different things that we have to do. So if you look at whether you have more jobs, but a lot of people are saying you're automating and you don't need people with technical skills. Well, we do. Because what's happening is we're changing some of the manual things that we do. And one of my examples in a second, I'll show you that. But we're doing things, we need to have more people that understand the technologies. So there's different skills that we need as we're going through our evolution and our development. But these are the type of things that we're looking at. All of that is all about trying to keep our safety of people as well as keeping our customers happy. And that's where it's all directed, but we need technologies to do that. Now, my specific example right here is about meters. On the left-hand side, you got electrical mechanical meters. They work great. 25, 30 years, you just put them in place. You can go in some of these old Daitongs and you can see them, right? They've been there forever. They work well. We look at that one time every 2 months, truthfully, because we send bills every 2 months. That's the one data point that we get. So if you look at how do I get more information to use that energy smarter, you don't have much information to do that. So what we're doing is we're moving to smart meters, and what that does is that's 1,440 in a month. Basically, every 15 minutes, we get a data point about how much energy is being used, and so we can use that information to be more efficient. Also, if you look at one of the things that we had in Super Typhoon Mangkhut, the problem was not in Kowloon and Chim Cha Choi. It was up to people in the the new territories. That's where they didn't have the power. So one of the things we've been doing is installing these meters so when the power does go out, we get an alarm. And so most of our customers now in the new territories have that ability so that we can, from a safety perspective, you can imagine somebody has life-saving equipment for medical equipment to keep your breathing and some types of things like that. If you have that alarm, then we can make sure that we serve them very quickly because we have on our systems, we know where those customers are. So those are the type of things that helps us, okay? And so when I also look at it from a personnel perspective, electrical, mechanical, basically what we had to do is we have an army of meter readers that went out and looked at all these meters. On the right-hand side, we don't need meter readers, but we need engineers, we need technical people that actually understands how to make that system because it's a much more automated type of system. So we need telecommunications. We need to understand actually how the communications work. We also need to know how those technologies work. Now, what the smart meters do, I've mentioned that in a number of places, it enables the efficient use, but it also enables things for like using renewable energy. We have what they call the feed-in tariff. So if you have a house or if you have a flat space somewhere, you can go put a solar panel and then we will buy that electricity from you. Because we're trying to encourage use of low carbon or zero carbon energy. So there's a number of things there that the smart meters and the smart grid actually enables us. And the last thing I want to say is a digital transition. On the left-hand side, basically the things we've been doing forever, the smart meters, power grids, everything. In the past, we didn't get data because one, it was too expensive. The technology that did not exist, or if it did exist, it was much more expensive to be able to get that information now. But with the evolution of the devices, as well as the evolution of the telecommunications network, we can very much get very cheap data to us, and then we can take that data and analyze it to basically turn it and make it into insights. The one insight that I like to do is basically trying to reduce the energy that you use. Because what that does, it reduces the carbon. Now, I might be old. Eric mentioned the fact that we're really old. But my daughter and my kids are not. And I think that what we need to do is we need to reduce the amount of energy so we can make the environment and the world a better place for the next generation, okay? And this type of digitalization actually helps us do that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us all this advancement in technology in your different fronts and how can it improve our daily life. So I think a lot of audience in here, they would like to know how vital is STEM in the design and development of your new and innovative high-techs and also in your products. So how important are those STEM education? So who would like to ask first? Eric?
Yeah. I think I think I started with the importance of STEM also personally. Again, going back to the example of the digital twin, a large part of our business is factory automation, not in Hong Kong, but other parts of the world. And we are in the middle of this industry 4.0. So, 10 years ago when we hire someone for our factory automation division, which we call it that, the person would need to be engineering based, not so much science and mathematics. But today, because of this industry 4.0, where a lot of the manufacturing and design and simulation. So if you look at a car manufacturer today, and we have a lot of customers in the car plant, basically they have moved a lot of their processes, even the testing. So a lot of the wind tunnel testing, we have software that tests the seats, by the way, and a lot of the testing and simulation is already done in the, what we call the virtual world, the digital twin. And only after the product is finalized and the quality meets the requirements, it is transferred back to the factory floor. So the benefit of this is shorter time to market. So if you look at cars, very typically you get new car models every day. But coming back to STEM, then you need people that are good in algorithms. You need people that are good in data analytics. You need people that are good in BIM, for instance, because we have CAD/CAM and so on, similar software in the factory space. So I think STEM will be, I have to say, the basic fundamental foundation if you really want to exist in, for instance, this industry 4.0 space. Again, mathematics is the basis for algorithms, right? And then science gives you the thought process to look at all this. So I'm not saying that there's no room for the creative arts. Just life, I think it is such that you do still need a bit of creativity on top of that. But which comes first? If you ask me, is actually STEMs come first.
Thanks, Eric. What about William from an airport setting? How is he a STEM?
I have a computer science background, so I don't know where that counts. It's a STEM
that counts, certainly.
It counts, right?
Science.
But I do feel that's important. I somehow feel that computer science background provide me a very strong training on logic thinking. And airport environment require a lot of logic process. And so I think that's a foundation. If you do good engineering, do good physics, and do good mathematics, that's your logic. That's how I feel. Must be very, very good. But then going back to our airport environment, we do find that recently we have a problem looking for younger generation that are interested in engineering type of subject. There's a lot of people want to go to, especially in Hong Kong, want to go to finance sector maybe. But even finance sector nowadays going to fintech, right? They are looking also for people who have some of a technology background. And for us, a small land, we want to cater 73 million passenger. We're going to be more than 73 million, probably 100 million, 120 million. How can we fit in all this cargo and people in such small land? So technology is vital to us. Technology basically helps us three things: make us more customer service, more efficient, better customer service, better safety and security. Of course, I think one thing that people are going to talk about, yes, reduce labor work. Will the technology replace human beings' work? I don't think, I don't think so. But yes, It reduces some repetitive work and also labor work. So first things we deploy I just show you some of the video, is a robot, right? And those robots, many of them actually think and create by local students.
Wow.
And nowadays that I don't think students need to, I actually 20 years ago worked for another company, study robotic control, where they do automation to manufacture cars. At the time, you really need to code from assembly, see, line by line. But nowadays, you create a robot, there's a lot of high-level language, a lot of package put together, you actually create a robot. It's not that difficult anymore. So STEM is not a STEM is not a challenge, a big challenge for students, I think. So we just need to create more interest to the students, understand what those knowledge can be useful. Okay.
Thank you. May I change the question a little bit for Thomas and also for Rick? Is how abundant opportunities for young people to pursue the STEM as a career?
I think, Eric, it's huge. Maybe let me put in, I think, a few examples. When I first joined the industry, so I'm a sort of site manager. When I go into a plant room, I think I will be doing all by myself. But these days, when I will need to go to the plant room, I need to at least get 4 engineers, I think, with me. 風火水電. So ventilation, electrical, fire services, 4 engineers. So that's why I really need this, I think, multi-skilling and also the innovation in STEM. Another example I'd like to, I think, tell you is, these days, as I just said, I think the whole industry is moving on to the MIC and DFMA, same as we're doing car. Design for manufacture and assembly. All those will be precast, prefab, and then delivered to site, and then install, and then FM, and then do this, I think, smart soil analytic. So unless you capture the STEM with innovation, you're never able to do this. This is really, I think, huge opportunity behind. But sadly, I think for some of, I think, the teaching institution, they're still sort of going through the academic thing, but I think Kerry did really well. You had the BIM lab, you have all this. This is exactly the thing we should be aspiring into, I think.
Yeah. Maybe Rick?
Eric.
Uh-oh, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
When I look at our industry, and as Eric said, most things are being electrified. That's what people are doing. They're transferring the internal combustion engine in cars, making electric vehicles. We're using much more data centers, and that's one of our biggest growth in the new territories is the construction of data centers to enable a higher, I guess, more advanced society. So if I look at that, our business is a enabler. We're providing almost a basic need at this point in our society of electricity. And as we continue to evolve in terms of the technologies, we're going to continue to need to provide electricity. We need people to be able to do that, not only, as I said, safely and reliably, but at the same time driving the cost down and doing it in such a way that basically we're providing a better service to the people. And so we look at, and to be able to do that, we need people with science and STEM backgrounds. If you can't do that, if you just have accountants and so on, you need those. You need a balanced team. But at the same time, you certainly need people that actually have the science background to be able to evolve and continually improve what we're doing.
Thank you very much. I think there's plenty of opportunities for all these STEM students. And at the same time, I think there's another question about what are the opportunities for the women in the industry, in the STEM? So I think that's a question we need to answer. So I prepared two slides to share my view. So my background, I came from a consulting industry, from the consulting practice. So a lot of people have a misconception about the male dominance or gender stereotype for engineers and STEM colleagues. But indeed, you can see there's tremendous improvement over these years. So this is some of the key personnel, very senior executive in the consultant practice. They are young, energetic ladies. They have been excelled in the consultant practice, leading thousands of the staff. So there are plenty of opportunities for women in the field. And also, I would like to share with you one of the case. This is one of my graduates in our team, Michelle. She's a graduate from a girls' school and pursued her dream. And now graduated from the PolyU with a building engineering and management. And she's working with us for 7 years, one of the brightest graduates we have. Over the years, she says most important, ladies have great power, like in the bubble here. They are more considerate, they are more thoughtful, and have very good communication skill. And they have very good and effective presentation skill as well. So that's the reason why a lot of women excel in this area. So may I pass on to Thomas first, sharing about your experience in this area. Thomas.
I know the Siu-cheung, he's the one who did
the
MIC for Science Park. It was, I think, last week. Within 2 hours, she have installed 5 modules. It's really
fine Lego blocks, huge Lego blocks.
I mean, the full flat with M&E, everything. So 2 hours, 5 blocks, I think is fantastic. Yeah. And again, so women in construction, again, I'd like to show you, I think, it's not just, I think, the big MD, I think, but also on construction side, I think, ladies are managing all the men.
建造業係一個好直接嘅工作，即係譬如我起一棟樓，我會見到個 end product 嗰棟樓嘅時候，嗰個 satisfaction， 第二啲工作未必俾得到。我係地質勘探嘅 project manager 啦，咁主要嘅工作範圍咧，其實就係喺一啲土壤裏邊咧，係攞一啲泥板或者係石板啦，去到實驗室做一啲測試嘅工作。咁呢啲測試工作得到嘅數據咧，就可以攞嚟咧俾第時嘅建築設計用嘅。其實地盤都已經係逐漸改變咗咧，即係無論係對於員工嗰個關顧啊，或者係需要嗰個技術範疇係多樣性咗嘅，唔再淨係話需要單一嘅勞動力就去做到嗰個事情，因為其實而家地盤好多時候需要嘅 skills 咧係可能係一啲 technology 方面嘅嘢，咁其實呢方面反而女仔未必輸蝕嘅。再者就係個環境上嘅改善啦，咁令到其實而家係多咗好多女性入行嘅，亦都係做得幾好嘅，即係喺個表現上面。喺金門裏邊咧除咗話你喺工程上或者你個學科上嘅training 之外咧，其實有時有啲soft skills 或者係一啲 CSR 嘅 activities 係呢方面嘅 development， 其實都幫助到我哋去建立一嚟我哋嘅 network 啦，另外就係我哋去用一啲唔同嘅perspective 去睇一啲事情過程中咧，其實我哋學到好多一啲leadership 嘅 skills， 同埋點樣去 cope with different people，appreciate 公司可以俾到一啲咁嘅機會我哋去嘗試啦。
Hope that explain.
Thank you very much. No need to explain. Such brilliant lady on the site. I think she will excel definitely. So may I invite Vivian to have some final remark, concluding remark on this from the woman perspective.
Sure. I think that in Hong Kong, like I mentioned, I used to work in US in research and development sector. That really is a pure science or engineering research. But in Hong Kong, most are applying engineering, applied science. Yeah. And so even in our place, we have a lot of women help us to put a project together. I mean, especially female have mentioned over there that very good in detail, very good in communication, very organized. So they are very good project manager, actually. Yeah. So with some background on understanding what engineering or science can do for their work, they can actually monitor the project or go through any, and also coordinate the project quite well. I think from that perspective that certainly that training, that training part or the part of having women in that workforce is really helpful. But through our education, however, we've seen that we have seen that many women or female start to join the engineering part of the workforce. We have two types of MT. One is management MT, the other type of engineer MT. In the past 5 years, we've seen more female being recruited as an engineer MT. And they do very well. They perform very well, not only just in the interview, and throughout the several years in the career life in our company, also do very well. But just that, as I mentioned, that after 30, 35, they disappear from the office. Probably they do have to go back home to take care of their family. So that's the part I think that we need to work hard to keep them, to maintain them. I believe that in the school, VTC probably also see more female join the engineering school. I certainly think that there's no difference between man and woman in terms of a learning engineer mechanism. And I even think that from project management point of view, female are actually stronger than men.
Yeah, so totally agree. I think there is a bright future for women in the STEM and also engineering field. And in terms of time, in view of the time, so may I just take 1 or 2 questions, because I know we have overrun quite a lot. So there's a gentleman at the back.
Hello. Good morning. I'm Calvin, a VDC student from Hong Kong. I have a big question. I would like to know what personal or professional attributes would big firms to be considered when recruiting STEM students? Yeah, I think all of us would like to know.
Thank you, Calvin. Who would like to take it? Maybe Rick, do you want to take it?
Sure.
A big company like yours.
When we look at hiring people, there's obviously engineering skills, but to me, the most important is about the individual, how diligent are, their work ethic. Those are the type of things that are very difficult to train. A lot of the technical skills are things that we can work with, and actually what we do is we take the base that people come with to our business, and then we add onto that specific training about how we manage and the jobs within COP to do our job. But the most critical aspect is the individual, what interests they have. We're not necessarily interested in somebody that is very single-dimensional. We want somebody that has a wide perspective and looking at the world. Because if you look at what we talked about, Eric talked about creativity and engineering. We can't really separate them in our business because we need engineers, but at the same time we have to continue to come up with new solutions. So we need somebody that has a wide perspective, that's not just limited to the technical areas, and we need somebody that actually is able to demonstrate strong leadership, as well as strong work ethic. Those are very difficult to train and provide people.
So anyone want to supplement? Maybe Vivian?
I totally agree with Richard that, in fact, I think some people may think that I need to be very good in grade in school in order to get a good job. I think you need to pass certain grade, but you don't need to get 4.0 or straight A in order to get a good job. Really, attitude is very important. Your passion for a certain type of work and also your professionalism once you join the workforce. Very beginning, we might not be able to see the leadership because of entry job, but then your attitude will really show whether you're passionate on your work with your work, or you just think just find gong la, that kind of attitude. Really, that we're looking for people that are committed to the workforce.
Yeah, totally agree. I think from my recruitment experience, I think we look at those people who have us self-motivated and the ability to learn. I think that's very important because nowadays technology is evolving so rapidly. Almost, I think the knowledge you learn from school will be virtually outdated by the time you graduate. I think that's basically the situation we have. Yeah.
Yes, I think maybe for contractor. Hello, maybe for contractor, maybe a little bit more tough. We really would like, I think, the candidate to be willing to make their hands dirty, unfortunately, because we still would be sort of, rather looking at the BIM, we still need, I think, the setting out. So that's why when a graduate engineer come to, I think, Gammon, to start with, he or she need to do, I think, 3 months or 6 months of leveling or survey. Because without knowing how to coordinate the drawings together and to be able to work where the levels are coming from, you can't really project manage. And the next 6 months would be doing BIM. So this is really the two things that we need to do. And I really agree with the mindset. These days, is this collaborating sort of spirit that we required.
So in view of time, maybe I just take one or two questions from the iMessages. That's one I project. Can you project here? The first question. The question is, innovation is a critical key to success. How do you allocate your resources to enhance the product and services to gain advantages in competitive environment? I think we're going to have a product. Maybe Eric have more insight on how to allocate resources in enhancing your products.
I don't think you can sort of separate the two. When you look at product and service today, you have to make sure it's innovative. Because, so I don't know how I can answer that. For sure, it's a critical key to success. And when we design the product, we have to innovate. And let me explain a little bit, but I'll be very quick, that today we design a product from the customer. Because innovation, in a way, is about whether you meet the customer's needs, doing more with less, blah, blah, blah. So today, we start the innovation process with the customer. 10 years ago, you design a product in a factory, R&D, and send it to you. Some customers like it. So today, for instance, Eric knows, we have a lab, a digital lab at the Science Park. So we invite the customers in. Your problem is you want to do this, but you don't have that, and then we work together on a solution. We call it co-creation, using MindSphere, by the way. And then that's how we build innovation. So you really start from the beginning. You can't design and then say, I want to put innovation on top.
Yeah, so we always need to ahead of the curve. Yeah. So we have time for another question. Is any more question from the iMessage? Okay. To what extent would you say STEM subjects are essential across the many interdisciplinary industries? So you always mention about this cross-discipline. I think everyone, Vivian and Thomas. Rick, what about?
Eric kind of mentioned it quite well. When he talks about the discipline and what you learn in the engineering field is a fantastic foundation block for someone's career. Because what it teaches you is a way to analyze and to work through an issue or a problem to be able to come up with a solution. And so if you start off with an engineering degree, there's almost no end. For example, our chief financial officer for CLP is an engineer. He doesn't have a finance degree. He has an MBA, but he doesn't have a finance degree. He started off as an engineer and spent quite a few years as an engineer before he moved into the finance sector. So to us, it's critical, especially in managing our business. So the more engineers we have in our business, because it's so dependent on the engineering industry, that adds value to what we can do because people understand better about the business.
Yeah. Anything you want to supplement? Vivian? Thomas first?
Yeah. Actually, I mentioned in my very beginning introduction, I also think that engineering kind of discipline, a foundation in our workforce. In fact, it presents a process thinking, logic thinking to deal with our business. I think not just our business, in other disciplines, even in finance industry, that I can see that people with a strong STEM type of background, actually, eventually, of course, nowadays, we talk about combined study. With the engineer background, you have another finance subject or historical other subject. Actually, it will help you to create even better career. So I think starting with engineering, build a foundation, then maybe later on you combine with some of our other interests. That will, give you a multidiscipline. In fact, give you more advantage in your career.
Yeah. Okay. Very short comment. In order to be successful, I think you need to specialize, in your own trade. But then you need to appreciate other disciplines in all sectors, no matter what.
Thank you. So the MC is standing right next to us, so I know it's time for us to wrap up our session. So thank you for all the prominent leaders in the industry sharing with us about the future of STEM in the various industry, in particular about this digital transformation. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ma and the panelists, for such an informative discussion.